and action.
You join us here today, mid-shoot of the world-famous YouTube channel, Pete and His Bus. As you can see, just like his buses, they're well-oiled and he rarely makes mistakes.
The engine's so noisy you can't hear it. I actually got pulled over in the bus. I got pulled over in the bus because they thought I was on the phone. And when he goes, "You were on the phone," and I just started laughing. And he's like, "You take," and I was like, "No, I'm not taking the." I said, "You want to come get in the cab with this engine running? I can't even hear my own brain think, let alone a phone." So I was actually setting the sat nav. And so I was leaning over like this because it's in a cradle, and they thought that I was on the phone. So, but yeah, they actually let me go because I just said no, I wasn't on the phone, and I just kept saying that because I wasn't on the phone. Yeah. And in the end, it's their word against mine. So they were like, "Oh yeah, off you go then."
How much planning do you have to do for getting to places? I mean, because obviously there's low bridges and stuff. How does it work?
Yeah, I find in the beginning, I actually suffered with like slight anxiety every time I had to get in this thing and drive it. It's because it's 30 foot long, and actually the length isn't so much the issue. It's the height. Yeah. So like a half decent tree branch, or like a traffic sign, or if you cut a corner slightly and there's like a lamp post, you'll take it out, and you'll do so much damage. And having spent a year and a half doing the whole bus up, every time you damage it, you're like, oh my god. This is all that work I've done. This is being reversed very quickly. So yeah, I actually really suffered with it. I was like sort of like nervous and like butterflies every time I had to go out in it. And but now after 7 years, and to be fair, after the first year, I don't really get it anymore. The only thing I will do is obviously in the area leading to the major motorway network, I know exactly where I can and can't go because of low bridges. Railway bridges are your biggest problem because they're always really old, and they were sort of built in a time before bridge height restrictions were done, blah blah blah. Sure. So yeah, so for me to get out to the M25 to the major motorway network, I can only go. I had two options, even though there's probably about 7 or 8 different roads. Exactly. The same railway line goes across, and I can't go anything. The only thing I always do is I Google Street View the last 5 minutes of my journey, because that's always where the issue is. You know, it's like, yeah, we're getting married and it's next to a river and it's really beautiful and we want your bus right there. It's like, yeah, you're in the middle of a forest. How am I going to drive my bus down there? Oh yeah. So I turned up to an event about a month ago, and they're like, yeah, we're doing this event on this cricket pitch, and the bus will be on the side. We're having like a charity cricket bash, and then everybody's having a drink, and it'd be really amazing. I mean, the location was amazing, and the idea was great, but the drive into this cricket pitch was like the width of a car, and the road to it was the width of a car. It's like that corner. So when I got there, I was like, I'm really sorry, I cannot get in your road. And I have this in my contract, a small print. If I don't get to the location because of something like that, I'm not the one to blame. It's their problem. They have to kind of make sure that that's sorted. So she phoned the landscaper that looks after the site, and they chopped a tree down. Just fantastic. It's like, wow, felt really special. I was a bit like, luckily I don't have many like green and environmental followers.
This isn't an eco bus, is it?
But the tree sadly lost its life. The party continued.
Yeah, and with the way we're going with all these, engines and stuff, and the fact that we're getting rid of, going into electric vehicles, and we're going to stop producing stuff. Are you concerned that they're going to cut off the diesel supply so that you're going to struggle?
It is a valid point. Yeah. But we're in an era now where the cars being produced new now are like the ultimate version of diesel and petrol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But even already, if you buy, let's say, a 2004 Audi A3, right, with the 1.9 turbo diesel, that engine, without any major work, will do in the region of 300,000 miles if you drive it. That's how good they are, right?
Yeah.
So you can see how long that these cars are still going to be on the road from today because they're still being made.
Yeah.
So we have not like our lifetimes won't be affected by all
You don't
this.
think so at all?
No, I don't think so at all. And also the other thing what you've got to remember is that the classic car industry and world, it's worth billions as an industry.
Yeah.
No one on planet Earth is going to kill an entire industry. The industry, it's just going to evolve, and you know, people are actually really good at evolving, even though 90% of the world is like panicky and worried about stuff. But look at some of the things that have been done in COVID.
Yeah.
You know, like the hospital in the Excel.
Yeah.
Look how
I know we managed to build that like that.
Look how adaptable people are.
Yeah.
You know, just because we're switching over to a different fuel doesn't mean that the classic car world is not going to stop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fair enough.
That is my personal opinion.
No, fair enough. You're entitled to it. I hope you're right. I really do. But going back to, like I say, this is the one thing I really don't understand still, because I don't drive obviously vehicles like this. But is there somewhere you go to find out heights of bridges and things, or is there like a special sat nav?
Yeah, you can. You can buy the lorry sat nav.
Right.
It's ludicrous money. I think it's £1,000. I think you do get lifetime updates on it,
right?
But you actually don't need it,
right?
Because well, I say that I've only ever gotten in trouble with a low bridge once. I got lost in the centre of Bristol, and in the middle of rush hour, I ended up facing a bridge that was too low, and even that I got out of. You know, some pedestrian said, he walked past, he goes, "Well, I love your bus." I said, "Cool, can you help me get out of this road? Because I want to back onto a road." So that's the only time it's ever happened. You just got to Google Maps and Google Street View and all that stuff. Not that I'm a huge fan of these global companies that are trying to take over the universe, but what they've created is actually very useful. And the major, like I said, the major motorway network, because there is some lorries that are even taller than this, is completely cool. You know all the major M and A road, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's why I always Google Earth or Street View the last 5 minutes of my journey.
Right.
When you get to the end.
Yeah.
So you can usually figure it out. And anything in the southeast where I'm based.
Yeah.
You know where they are.
Yeah. You know the low bridges.
But it used to really scare me. But every bridge that's lower than 15 foot in the country, and you can check this, every bridge in the country that's lower than 15 foot has to, by law, have the triangular sign on it that gives you the feet and the meters.
Right. Okay.
And you know, like, you know how your eyes are just trained to pick up red lights, like brake lights and traffic lights.
Yeah.
My eyes are just trained to pick up those signs. If I see, even if I'm in a normal car, I'm like, oh, height restriction. Oh no, I'm alright.
Sorry, I'm in the Fiat 500.
Yeah, in the Fiat 500.
I'll be able to get through.
It's a height restriction. Oh. Well, you can follow the channel. It's called Pete and his bus, and I just mess about with buses. I try and mix it up. So, like Matt said, I do a different classic car on every time, just out of interest. Some are my own cars, some are Matt's cars, some are cars that belong to friends of mine. Just to mix it up a little bit. And also, I've started doing a little bit more video of some of the events that the first bus is actually going to, just because some of them are really cool. Like I did a bunch of time with Formula E.
Absolutely fantastic, that video. You must watch that.
Well, it's just, really just fun.
Yeah.
And other things I've done in the past, which I wish I'd filmed, but I just wasn't. You know, I didn't start filming until sort of like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So the bus goes to some pretty cool places. I think I'm in the middle of doing a deal with a venue in central London for like a rave. So the bus is going to be used as the bar for the backstage party. Don't think I should do any filming there. Some of the stuff that goes on in raves. Really not my scene, but still cool.
Yeah.
And it's just cool to drive the bus into central London. Yeah. When you go into central London, you think, wow, it'd be scary to drive that bus into all that traffic and stuff. But actually, when you get into central London, you suddenly realise that London is totally designed to have this bus.
Yeah.
Suddenly it all makes sense. The gearing is perfect.
Yeah.
The streets are all clear and wide. The corners are the right height. You know, you suddenly realise that that's what it was made for. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
And talking about going to London and all that, do you have to pay a fee to take this into London?
No, so under the historic regulation. Now, I'm not going to talk about this too much because there is that, but there is also the whole argument of what license you need to drive a bus like this, and I'm actually not going to go into it because I've had people threaten me legally, and they got in touch with the DVSA and they're investigating me. and I know the rules, so like it's just really dull and boring.
Yeah,
but some people on the internet are just hell bent on ruining other people's days. But if a vehicle is classed as historic, as you well know, actually, are any of your vehicles classed as historic? They're not.
No, they're not yet.
Okay.
They're not. They're still classics only.
Any car over the age of 40 doesn't need an MOT, providing it's been categorised as this, which you can do by the post office. It doesn't need an MOT. You do not pay road tax, and it goes into London congestion charge free.
Right.
So the bus is obviously, this one's from 1965, the other one's from 1967, so they're way over. And they drive, ironically, I drive a stinking great, smoking, dolphin beating, seal pup smashing, bird raping, diesel stinking bus into central London, where it's like, my small van, they're like, oh, you can't drive into London.
I was going to say, because I can't drive my BMW
that's
because it's
polluting
not Euro 6 or whatever it is, and I get stung for it. But
the bus
you can take this in.
But the bus that churns out more smoke than 700 normal passenger cars together, because it's historic, it drives in straight away.
Fantastic, isn't it?
That's the British government for you. Total sense at any given time.
Is that the same for when you're saying vintage vehicles? I mean, is that the same for like your midget you've got? Your MG midget?
Yeah, everything that's classed as historic. So my MG midget was off the road for such a long time.
Yeah.
When it was last on the road in 1992, and they didn't have the historic category vehicles. It was different then. So that was still registered as a normal car. So when I went to register, they're like, "Oh, you need to pay your road tax," and I was like, "No, I don't. It's from 1961 or 62. Sorry."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, you need to class it as historic." So we classed it as historic. So now you can do whatever you like. So all the people that are like having problems with commuting into central London, get a classic car. You can drive straight into central London. Commute charge free.
It's genius.
I know.
Yeah, actually, let's do that. Get out there. Get rid of your fast, expensive cars. Sell them cheap, so that we can afford to buy them, the people who are into our classic cars but can't afford to have your really nice cars. And you go and buy all the nice classic cars from the 60s. Or get an MGB or something and go into London.
Don't get an MGB.
Get an MG midget.
If you buy an MGB, then you are that man in the car park that talks at people about his gearbox. We all know him. His name's usually like Norman or Clive. You know him. He's also got a Caterham and it's really nippy.
And if you don't know him,
you
are him.
Yeah. If you don't know him, you are him. Clive, what are you doing?
So get yourself a classic car. That's probably the best Pete's tip of the day, I suppose, really.
Maybe, yeah. So a friend of mine, he plays the violin and he works in central London, and he has like an old 80s Mercedes W123 coupe with the 5-litre SEC lump in it.
Yeah, nice.
It's an amazing car. It's featured on the channel, I think about 3 episodes ago. Amazing car. He didn't just buy that because he likes it. I mean, because obviously he likes it because it's amazing. But he bought that because he commutes into London with it. So he drives a great stinking petrol V8 straight into London. Yes, his fuel costs are a bit higher than your normal car, but he doesn't pay road tax. He doesn't have to do an MOT. He doesn't have to pay congestion charge. And classic car insurance is dirt cheap.
It is.
So in the end, for the fuel usage, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, it does make massive sense. Complete sense.
The problem is if everybody started doing that, they'll
problem is it will, exactly, everyone will get so
keep quiet.
Keep it quiet.
Clive, no.
With regards to your classic car ownership and stuff, is there anything you particularly want to own out of your cars that you've got?
What other classic car? Oh,
yeah.
Mate, it's like an endless list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you've got your eye on or anything you want at the moment?
Realistically, I'd really like, because I could say like, oh yeah, I want a Mercedes Gullwing. That's like 2 million quid, or like 1 million. So you know,
that's a couple of episodes of Peter's Plus,
I've got to get like another 10 followers, and then so, you got to be realistic in your. There's nothing bad about dreaming big. That's cool. Yeah. If you want to own a Gullwing, then you should go and own a Gullwing because they are so cool.
Yeah.
But realistically, I'd quite like a Series 1 E-Type. I know that's a bit of a cliche because it's like the classic car, but I just really like them. I've driven a lot of E-Types. Luckily, someone in my family has E-Types, so I've had access to them, and they are the all-round. It's a bit like an Aston Martin DB5. They're so overpriced because they're beautiful, they are fast, they can actually be very, very user-friendly. and they sound good. They just tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
And I think an E-Type is kind of like that for me. So yeah, but in the meantime, I'll drive loads of like quirky, mad stuff that I like too. So and I'm just mentioning one or two. I'd love an early Porsche 911. I'd love a Facel Vega. I'd love an Isetta BMW, like the little bubble.
Oh yeah,
it's
little
just
size.
so cool.
So cool.
That the door is at the front. Why? Because it is. It's
Good luck in an accident getting out though if we go on, but
just don't be in an accident.
Be an accident.
Good luck being in an accident. Messerschmitt KR200.
Oh yeah,
it's like the cockpit of a plane with wheels. Yeah. Why is that cool? Because it is.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that. It's just, and like I'll even drive cars that I think are just beautiful, even if they're crap. Doesn't matter.
They just look
like a Triumph Spitfire. This is a horrible thing. But the early ones are so pretty. So go drive. And actually, and that takes me to Alphas, because Alphas are all beautiful. And
but we all know they're terrible.
And they're also usually really good to drive. But they are terrible cars.
Yeah.
You can watch them rust. Give me 10 minutes, that front wing will be gone.
Yeah. You obviously, your background is not engineering. It's not, you're not a mechanic.
No.
But yet,
far from it.
You are tackling all this on your own. Yeah. And I mean, what have you got people you're asking about this sort of stuff, or are you just going hammer and tong for it and just going what to do, and then?
I think it's a combination of factors. So I have a mechanic, Lord Barrington, who is the
like
the opinion on especially on Routemasters.
Yeah.
Like he knows them all. So the Green Goddess, when I ran out of fuel, he had a look at it and he diagnosed a load of things. Like he's generally just really amazing, especially with old stuff, because he likes it. But he is the national opinion on Routemasters, and I don't really care if anybody disagrees with that, because it is just true.
Yeah.
Like what he doesn't know, it's just not worth it.
No.
I used to play a game with him when he used to turn up. I'll have him working on the bus, and I'll find some like really small bracket that I had to remove to, like, I don't know, stick a fridge there or something. So I'd keep the bracket in, because always keep the old parts, because somewhere out there is going to need a part. So I kept all the parts.
Exactly.
And so I put them.
Don't scrap these vehicles. No. Don't scrap parts. Get everything sold.
So so I'd keep the bit, and then when he turned up, I'd be like, okay, right, round number 1. What is this? And I never ever managed to find a part off the bus he didn't know. And like really mundane brackets, like a little square bracket with 2 round loops, and he'd be like, that is the bracket that sits behind the left side passenger side where the power cable runs. And he'd know every time. So yeah, so he is the authority. And so him and I, we're not just really good mates, but he also, to answer Matt's question, because I don't have an engineering background, which he does, and so if I run into technical stuff, like I had to rebuild the diesel pump on the Cummins engine because it was all clogged up. I can't. You could learn how to do that, but you'd be 6 months down the road, right?
Yeah.
So I had that done professionally through him. So there are obviously things that I can't do, and like electrics, like Matt's really good with electrics. Obviously, that's what he does for a living. So I do not tackle electrics because there's no point, because I don't know them. So I don't. I know the channel kind of looks like I'm doing everything, but that's because at the moment I'm doing all the things which I can do, which is body work, fixtures and fittings, and like the design element of it, and all these different things that and building like benches and tables and all that sort of stuff. That's all is fairly simple.
So are you saying, Pete, there's going to be episodes where we're going to see other people working on the bus when it comes to serious things, like, for instance, when you build your units or whatever, or you're wiring up, are you going to have other people?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Someone said that, because they're like, we've never seen another person on your channel.
Yeah.
At some stage, that will have to happen, I guess. Yeah. Also, with the channel gaining a little bit of momentum, you do get the option of actually approaching companies and say, listen, can you help me out so I can help you out?
Yeah.
So for instance, when I had my advertising banners made for that, I will do an episode where I show how they print them and make them. They gave everything half price. When I bought the paint for the bus, they did me a massive discount because I promoted their company. So
what was the name of the company? They were fantastic, that company.
Which one?
For the paint.
They're called Craftmaster.
Craftmaster.
And they specialise in like vintage colours and old paints.
They've got a lovely showroom there as well, haven't they? With all their old classic cars and buses and vehicles.
Yeah, so it's episode 12.
Amazing.
We'll show you some of so a lot. The word vintage is overused. Vintage is actually of a certain era, as in like the beginning of the 1900s, like the best part of 100 years old.
Yeah.
And so they have vintage cars from like 1904, 5. They've got steam powered tourer, which is like amazing. So that's the thing they're into. So that's a whole world of cool stuff. Again, like Sodaverse, I'll have a Vespa, but I'd also like a steamer.
Yeah.
Steam tourer. Hey, where are you off to? Don't know yet.
When you get there, you can make your coffee.
Yeah. Oh man, there's no hot water in the urn. Don't worry, I've got it. Stick it to the exhaust.
Yeah. See, obviously, it is now red, not mid-red, so things have moved on. But I think in the last episode it did go red, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It is completely red.
Painting it red, and now
so annoyingly, I might not be able to paint again because it's getting cold again. And
I was going to say we are filming this around October time, late October. So yeah,
I've taken too long, but it's to do with.
Well, you had the scissor lift breakdown as well, didn't you?
What's that?
Your scissor lift was broken. That was one of the.
There was that, and I've got events on. So this bus is out this week. It's out the week after. It's constant. So. And I'm also playing in a band, and I have a young child, and there's just loads of stuff.
It's got too much on, basically.
Too much on, yeah. It's very easy to take on too much.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ideally, I'd like to launch an episode every sort of 2 weeks, but mate, it's just impossible.
Yeah. Well, I think the way you got to a point where you were doing it monthly, and I think that was good.
Nearly,
almost monthly, but you've been unlucky recently.
It's because of lockdown, man.
Yeah, exactly. You have nothing else to do.
What am I going to do? I'm just going to make stupid videos for YouTube.
So anyway, the footage you'll see in the is from his next episode coming out, which is obviously GT6.
Yep.
Which obviously is a Spitfire with a roof.
Dude, insult.
No, it's not just a Spitfire with a roof.
It's
2 litre.
It's also got it's a Spitfire with a roof and 2 extra cylinders. It kind of goes a long way.
It looks absolutely stunning and sounds phenomenal. Sadly, it doesn't go as quick as you expect it to look like it would go, but that's just down to age, isn't it? Really, and in fact, it's still on carburetors. It has. I mean, you probably get a lot more power out of them if you.
It'll do 100 mile an hour.
Yeah.
If you want to go 100 mile an hour in a classic car, I know I don't.
I wouldn't recommend. No, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So we've done a bit of filming. We've seen you film, obviously, and how you film it. And amazingly, it's hard to believe, but actually Pete films it all himself. You know, a lot of people still think that he's got someone else filming it, but actually
camera crew,
Pete is filming it. Films it himself, edits it himself, and
I do sometimes get a little bit of help. Like, I can't lie about it. My other half, she did photography when she was younger, and she's very, very good with the camera. And sometimes she comes with, and
I helped you on one, didn't I?
And Matt sometimes helps me. Yeah. So and then you get slightly more option of shot.
Yeah.
You know, because there's only so much you can do with a tripod, and so suddenly you can have moving things. And also, like the modern phones today, man. Like you could film a TV series on your phone, which is mad to think.
It's what I'm doing.
But it's totally possible. Exactly. And it's actually the quality is good.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like I say, one of the things that obviously we filmed was when we did the MR2 episode. And you actually got gear shifts in and stuff, didn't you? Because you were filming it inside the car.
Oh, it was your hand.
So yeah, it was my hand, but but it was gear shifted nevertheless.
Yeah,
and you managed to film it.
Like I've had a lot of comments. The hand's really weird. Sorry, guys.
And yeah, basically that's it, really, Pete, isn't it?
Dude, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you letting us have the interview.
No problem, and good luck with your channel.
Don't forget, like, subscribe, and I'll put a link in the description below for Pete and his bus, which I recommend. He is like the British Richard Rawlings, the way he squeals. Woo! Yes, Monkey Garage! Woo! Exactly! Go and view it. It's worth watching. It's a good thing just to sit down with a cup of tea in the morning first thing and just have a watch on something. And yeah,
thanks, cookoncars. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good luck with your channel.
Cheers, I appreciate it, Pete. And it's nowhere near as successful as yours, but
it takes time.
Things are happening.
YouTube, you just got to keep plugging away at it. It's like nothing. Suddenly, you're like, whoa, you reach the next level, and then nothing. You'll get there.
You can contact me on Facebook, and that's at cookoncars, or you can contact me on the Instagram page. Feel free to send me a message if you want to discuss your car you're buying or want any advice and stuff like that. I don't know much, but I'm happy to give you a helping hand. And of course, if you are in the southeast and you want to come along to some of our car events,
that's cool. You should all go to his car club. What's it called, Matt?
Forest Road S&C Car Club, which stands for Sports and Classic. So yeah, do come along. It'll be great to see you. I'm almost always there, and if you don't see me, there'll be somebody else there marshalling. But just say you know us, whatever, and come on down. It's a great little show. We've got some fantastic cars. We had a fantastic event last month.
I've never actually been. I should come.
The cars were ridiculous. You should make an appearance, definitely, Pete. We'd love you to come in the bus.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah.
That'd be fantastic. But you've got your classic cars. Why not bring the midget now? It's all done and roadworthy and everything. It'd be nice to see it. Yeah. Yes, you can follow us any of those ways, and obviously look out for Pete and his bus show on YouTube, the next Richard Rawlings. Thanks, Pete, ever so much again for
thank you.
Us.
No problem.
And
cool, man.
yeah, it's been a great afternoon filming with you and doing those bits and pieces. And yeah, we'll catch you next time for another episode of Cook on Cars, where we will be somewhere different. Will we be in a bus? Will we be in a submarine? Who bloody knows? But it'll be some kind of motor vehicle, and it'll be with me. Catch you next time. Bye.
Oh, I'm so glad you told them that it'll be with you.